Now to this week's special report. Australians have embraced the sharing economy with gusto, but critics believe websites like Airbnb are having a negative effect on our housing crisis. The Airbnb site currently has 115,000 listings across the country. 2 years ago, it had 40,000. That's an almost threefold increase. And the problem is most prevalent in tourist hotspots. In Byron Bay, about 15% of the town's homes and apartments are listed on Airbnb. Our Consumer Affairs reporter Amy Bainbridge went there to look at the impact it's having.
Well, I need to get that rhythm, baby. When I get that call, I'm gonna slip my boots on quietly and I'll just head out that door.
Each year, 2 million tourists flock to the Byron Bay area for pristine beaches and the laid-back lifestyle.
I'm coming home.
But locals say that lifestyle is under threat.
I call myself Lady Hobo, or couch surfing in paradise.
Long-time resident Alona Harker keeps her belongings in storage while she lives in her car and stays with friends. She was evicted just before renewing her lease near Christmas and believes her home was listed on Airbnb.
Because I can't get a home, it sort of actually makes me just feel kind of angry about it. I feel really frustrated that this situation has arisen.
There's virtually no affordable rental accommodation anymore in a place like Byron Bay.
Shire Councillor Paul Spooner also runs the Byron Community Centre. He says Airbnb has pushed the rental market to crisis point.
The platform itself, I think, is great in terms of what it's been able to do for people travelling around the world to different places. But when you get people investing in houses to put it on Airbnb, that's no longer sharing, that's a business.
Terry is another local desperately trying to find somewhere to rent.
This makes me emotional. I don't really want to have to start all over again. I love this place. For now, my kids are here.
Data from independent monitoring website Inside Airbnb shows listings in the Byron Shire have increased by 20% in the past year to just under 2,000. 2/3 are for entire homes and the remaining are private rooms.
There's an upside, but there's also a dark side to disruptive technologies like Airbnb. So we're having a housing affordability crisis in Australia, and Airbnb and these sort of shared economy technologies can have an adverse impact on our housing affordability, specifically with the rental market.
The typical listing in Australia is only shared for about 30 nights a year. So this is usually people, it's overwhelmingly actually people sharing their primary residence, either whilst they're there or whilst they're not.
It's a balancing act for places like the Byron Shire. In many ways, the sharing economy is a boon for local tourism, but there are winners and losers, and that situation is reflected in other parts of Australia.
Look, I'm ringing about a property.
In Hobart, honours student and single mum Elise can't find an affordable place to rent.
Devastating. No affordability. At least 30 people turning up for inspections.
Shelter Tasmania says Airbnb is making matters worse.
We've already got a very stretched rental market, and what this is overlaying on top of that another pressure that's adding to the availability of stock.
Inside Airbnb data shows Hobart listings have almost doubled in less than a year.
I think it's been enormously beneficial for Australia's tourism sector. Deloitte recently found it's created about 15,000 jobs and put about $1.6 billion into the economy.
Already, cities like Barcelona and New York are limiting the number of listings and taxing homeowners. 2 state governments have launched inquiries. Last week, Victoria released its findings, including a recommendation for a register for properties. And New South Wales is set to release a consultation paper. It's little comfort for locals feeling the pinch. Amy Bainbridge, ABC News.
You know I'm gonna come back home.